Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whalen.
And I'm Pre-Malone.
Oh my god. So what you're saying is you go in and you
So I'm Pre-Malone and
he's Post Malone.
Post Malone, yeah.
Right. So, well, how does that help him, though, if he's Post Malone and you're Pre-Malone?
I don't know.
And did you just say that because you saw all three of my pop figures?
Yeah. I saw those and I was like, got it. Don't worry about it. I'll Kaiser Soze real quick.
Yes, I have all three Post Malone pop figures. I'm sure Future Rain can put up pictures of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not to brag.
Yeah, not to brag or anything. Yeah, because it goes his Beer Bongs and Bentleys phase, and then his Circles music video, and then his live stream where he played Nirvana songs. Yeah. Because he's in his sundress.
Yeah.
Because he wore a sundress. Because that's what Kurt Cobain did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Is he okay? How's he doing these days?
I don't know, man. I heard that Seattle life is not doing too great.
Oh, man. I bet it's really just that Courtney Love life's not going too great. She murdered him. That's,
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Welcome back to the Kurt Cobain Conspiracy Podcast.
No conspiracy needed.
No,
this
for
is
sure.
what happened. Yeah.
She 100% killed him.
Yeah, of course.
Or at least put a hit out.
There is no doubt in my mind. We've talked about this before on the show.
Dude, there's so much.
I'm so passionate about it. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much circumstantial evidence too, man.
Yeah.
You know, like they found writing samples in her purse of his handwriting. The shotgun shell from the shotgun was on the opposite side of his body.
Yeah.
And how they're theorizing how it was shot, it would have ejected this way.
Sure.
So why was it over here?
Right.
And because there was nothing over here that would have.
Yeah. Also, the amount of heroin in the system.
Yeah, and they also said that with the amount, it hadn't had time to hit him yet. So it's like, why would a known junkie shoot up and then kill himself before he's able to experience this high?
Yeah.
And it was enough heroin for like a small elephant or something like that. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Could you imagine if we did a whole fucking episode over this shit?
We could, because there's a few movies we could talk about.
Ashley and I have seen. Yeah, we've seen Soaked in Bleach. We've seen Montage of Heck.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Soaked in Bleach is too. There's too much margin for interpretation.
Sure.
But that's the point of that one. But
Montage of Heck was really good.
Montage of Heck was really good, but I think that was because it was made to directly, I guess, nullify Soaked in Bleach, because since Soaked in Bleach really painted Courtney Love in she had something to do with it. So she produced this one. I was like, let's focus on Kurt and his problems. But anyway, welcome back, everyone.
Yeah.
Courtney Love definitely killed her husband.
For sure.
So dude, before we get into it, let's make a quick announcement.
Sure.
That there will not be a new episode next week.
No.
Unfortunately, now it's my turn to go out of town. Ashley and I are going to Austin to see Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. That'd be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be great. And it better be worth $1,300 in concert tickets.
That's so much money.
I know, man. For concert tickets.
What, you guys got front row or something?
No, those apparently were like $3,000 a pop.
What?
Yeah. Well, and that's in the pit too, dude. So you got to stand the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that.
But yeah, so no new episode next week. But of course, we're still teased. Well, it'll come.
Yeah.
Next.
I'll let you know.
As we normally do. But now it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn to say bye-bye.
Yeah. To say bye.
Say bye-bye.
And don't worry, I tried to get him to do a solo episode.
I don't want to.
Well, and also, I was thinking of the logistics of it and having to edit while I'm in Austin.
Yeah, it's just no fun.
Because you would need to film it, both the audio and the video.
Ew, no.
Send it to me so I can edit it.
Absolutely not.
So
that's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, I could easily give you the logins and you could do it yourself, but
I wouldn't do it right. I'll tell you that right now. I've never seen you do it, number one. And then I've never, even looked at it or seen any of that shit. Even this, what's on the computer right now, which is in front of Rain, that's really scary and confusing to me. There's a lot of buttons.
See, luckily we've been doing this for 3 years, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way now. And then also when I get back, I'll have some new ink somewhere on my body.
Yeah, some new ink. Some ink tats. Tat up some ink.
Some new flesh wounds, new actual scarring.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, that one, it'd be cool to finish that one.
Yeah, I was telling a customer, hang on everyone. Sorry. I was telling a customer that I wanted to start on my Star Wars stuff, but I've been filling out this arm more.
Right.
And so it's at this point, I might as well just finish this arm.
Might as well.
And then I'll get started on my Star Wars stuff.
Star Wars.
The Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Anyway, now we'll actually do the goddamn episode.
Yeah, let's get in.
So if you joined us last week, thank you, by the way. On the Waterfront's doing pretty good.
Oh, good.
I mean, not as good as Silence. I mean, Silence is doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you joined us last week, this week we are talking about The Farewell. Now, was this the first time viewing for you as well?
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what did you think?
I liked it. I talked to my buddy Shep about it beforehand at work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, have you seen The Farewell? He goes, no, I don't think so. And then I described it to him. He goes, oh, yeah, we did see that. It was really good. And I go, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, thank God. Because I don't, because he was like, yeah, you know what I mean? He would have been like, it's so-so. And I would have, but no, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Awkwafina was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
I was pleased that it was mostly in Mandarin.
Yes.
Because it was late last night when I was watching it. Haley was sleeping, and I had to turn down a little bit. So it was hard to hear, but I can read.
But you could read, yeah.
Yeah. It's...
Yeah, I mean, like, I knew the movie was going to be both in English and Mandarin.
Yeah, I would say that it is, it's like 70-30 or 80-20.
Yeah, I would say 80-20. Yeah, because it's primarily in Mandarin, which I loved.
Yeah.
I was like, that's...
And even the opening titles and stuff, is in...
Yeah, you have the English, A24 presents, but then in Chinese
written down, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's called Mandarin written down.
No, I think it's like traditional Chinese.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, man, I absolutely agree. Loved it. Of course, I finished it today. I really slacked on this one, and this was my pick.
That's all right.
But yeah, no, I really loved it. It was funny. It was so serious. But it wasn't. What I really loved is it wasn't so serious that it wasn't palatable,
it's not depressing.
Yeah. It's just this family dealing with something that, truthfully, most people wouldn't have to deal with. But
not in this way. Yeah.
Not in this way. But shout out to our Ikuto episode. Mm-hmm. As we theorized in that one, it's pretty much spelled out. It is a cultural...
Yeah, it's a cultural thing.
Again, which I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Lulu Wang, the writer and director of the movie, because she killed it.
And musician. She played the piano on the soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You told me that off mic.
Yeah.
I'm a big dumb boy. But anyway, so Jeremy, would you like to tell everyone a quick little synopsis of the movie?
All right. So let me make sure I get people's names right. So... Nai is the matriarch of the family, right? Mm-hmm. Their last name's on in here. It doesn't matter.
I don't think they've ever said their last name.
Oh, okay. So, she is at the doctor's office when we open, right? When she's talking to Billy on the phone, and she's going in for some tests, right? She hasn't been feeling well. She's going to tests. She brings her sister with her to the hospital. And after all the tests are done, the doctor tells the sister, and I don't remember her name. It's fine.
They call her Little Nai.
Oh, Little Nai. She is part of Lulu Wang's family, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It said she plays herself in the... Anyway. So the doctor tells her the diagnosis, right? The test results. And she has terminal cancer, right?
Yes.
Nai has terminal cancer. Little Nai decides not to tell her, right? Mm-hmm. And the family as a whole decides not to tell her. Billy finds out that Billy and her parents live in New York, in America, while everyone else still lives in China. And a few in Japan. But they decide that, you know what, we're not going to tell her, but we need to go visit her, right?
Yeah.
We need to spend more time with her. This may be the last time, right?
Yeah.
And so all of them are carrying this secret while trying to spend and trying to be happy with Nai Nai. And Nai Nai is just so pleased everyone's with her, and she has no idea, right?
Yeah.
As the film progresses, we have a wedding.
A fake wedding.
Well, yeah. A fake wedding to lift her spirits, right? To lift Nai Nai's spirits, gives her something to do, and it invigorates her spirit, I guess.
Yeah.
To be able to put on an event, right?
Yeah.
And have the whole family there. Of course, fake wedding is like the reason they give her anyway, right? Like, not that they're here to visit her, but that they're here for the wedding. And there are moments where, you know, people are struggling, but mostly it's Billy, right? This whole film is seen through Billy's eyes, and Billy is struggling with keeping this secret from Nai Nai, who she loves very, very much, and she's very close to. And they have the wedding, and they end up not telling her. Billy ends up realizing that it's the right thing to do. After all of these conversations she has with her family members and all of these close calls with, I'm going to tell her, you know?
Yeah.
And the film ends with Billy back in New York. Yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie kind of bookends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of starts in New York and it ends in New York.
Billy's back in New York. She takes her grandmother's advice and does some
Tai Chi.
Some Tai Chi, some breathing technique in Tai Chi, as almost a way to be like, this is something that I can have to still be close to her, no matter what happens, right? And the film ends with a little home video of the real Nai Nai, who is still alive.
Yes.
And still doesn't know. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that's the farewell.
Yeah.
Yada yada through a line, like I always do.
Well, and because you know we're gonna focus on it, but you know, I was gonna save this for the end, but I did want to go ahead and just talk about this now. I'm actually glad that they never tell her.
Yeah.
You know, even if this wasn't semi-autobiographical from Lulu Wang, the whole time I was like, oh, now it's going to be the time. Now they're going to tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they don't. And so at the end of it, I was like, okay, good. I mean, and it's horrible to think that because, you know, I was like, you know, if this was my grandmother, I would want her to know.
Right.
But I was like, but at the same time, I'm really glad they didn't tell her.
Well, and not only that, I was expecting her to die.
Oh, by the end of it?
Yeah, of course. You know?
I had that thought too. It was like, she's not going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, of course not. You know, that's the whole thing. That's the whole reason for the movie is she's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And look at us.
I know.
Egg on our face, she's still alive.
I know. And we were kind of talking about it off mic, but man, shout out to Lulu Wang for taking such a ballsy risk of telling this very real portion of her life, of her own grandmother.
And I would wonder, you know, I didn't look this up and I should have because I'm just not thinking about it, but I wonder how it plays in China, right? Mm-hmm. So like for us as Americans, this is a big deal. Keeping this big of a secret from a loved one, right?
Yeah.
They're dying and you are not telling them, right? That's crazy to us.
Right.
But, you know, it is alluded to pretty much or almost spelled out is that, you know, this is Chinese custom. You can choose whether or not to tell them, right? Mm-hmm. Telling them would only, you know, either shorten their lifespan, they believe, right, due to the stress and the and the depression that comes with dying.
And that's one of my favorite part. One of the funnier parts is Billy's mom with the old adage of, you know, Chinese people say when you have cancer you die, and then she clarifies by saying it's because it's the fear that kills him, not and the stress and the fear because of how much time do I have left now? I'm like, what am I going to do? Yeah.
And then, of course, it's, you know, it completely derails their life, right? That's pretty much the main reason why you don't tell someone, right?
Yeah.
That in Chinese customs. And I like that it sort of seems like you always had the choice. It's not like if you are Chinese, you do not tell them. It's if in China, you just get to decide, right?
Yeah.
It seems that way to me anyway while watching the film. It seems like they might not be the only family to keep secrets like this, but they might also be, sort of like the more traditional Chinese
Well, and like the doctor says, when my grandmother had cancer, we decided not to tell her.
Right.
And she died a little bit after her diagnosis.
Yeah.
And title of the episode, as he says, it's a good lie though.
Yeah.
Because and I agree with what you've been saying.
loved that. So I was listening so carefully and reading so carefully because I'm like, I need a title, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once he said it, I go, wrote it down immediately.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's sad to think about. And the movie does have its very dramatic parts, but and we'll talk about it. But I love that Billy does a really good job of showing no emotion, even though that's why they didn't want her to come.
Right.
Because she wouldn't be able to keep her emotions.
Yeah,
in
she
check.
wouldn't be able to keep it.
But it's her cousin is the one who struggles the most with trying to hide his emotions. Mm-hmm. The one they're putting this fake wedding on for.
Right.
But we'll get to that. So I guess I really want to spend not a lot of time, but I do want to spend some time talking about Billy.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
She is our protagonist.
Yeah.
As you said, we see the movie through her eyes. And shout out to Aquafina. Like, I know a lot of people give her a lot of shit, but I think she's come a long way.
This is my second time only seeing her in a movie I haven't seen. Because I saw Ocean's 8.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fine.
This is the third one I've seen. Okay. I didn't see Ocean's 8 just because it didn't have George Clooney's in it.
And now
even just as a cameo.
Yeah,
I just wanted him as a cameo.
But,
I have no doubt in my mind. With that cast list, I bet it was great. But
it was fine.
But this is the third thing. The first thing I ever saw of her in was Jumanji: The Next Level.
Oh, she's in it?
Yeah. She pretends to be Alex Wolff, pretending to be a Chinese character, and then she pretends to be Danny DeVito, pretending to be a Chinese character.
Wow.
And then I saw her in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Which is more kind of up her wheelhouse.
And she was good in
oh yeah,
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. God, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's not Shang-Chi.
Oh my God.
Shang-Chi. But yeah, she was great in that. But it was because she was written to be the comedic relief character, who then learns to be more serious.
Yeah, of course.
But she knocked it out of the park.
I agree. I think, is she mostly a comedian?
She is primarily comedian and apparently rapper.
Okay, I was wondering about that because Aquafina is such an interesting stage name.
Yeah.
Because her name's Nora.
Yeah, her real name's Nora.
So, I'm gonna ask if she was a musician or a...
Yeah, she doesn't do rap as much anymore, but I was watching something, I think it was her on Hot Ones, and she talked about having a rap career for a little bit. I've been meaning to watch Nora from Queens. I heard it's funny and it's awesome. But anyway, yeah, she does great. And in the character of Billy, I was kind of telling Ashley about it. She didn't watch it with me, and I really wanted her to watch it with me, but she didn't. The character of Billy is kind of sad, really.
She is, and also, but again, if without Billy, we don't get another perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone else is cool with this, right?
Yeah.
It's Billy and later her cousin, really, who's not. I think mainly her cousin is so overtaken by grief and by, not being able to comfort her, right? Not being able to give her a hug and tell her why, I think that's really what's breaking him. I'm not quite sure that he feels guilty over the secret necessarily.
Yeah.
I think he's just sad, right?
Yeah.
It's Billy who feels guilty, and she feels like it's wrong, right? But again, this is her Western American perspective, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love how the movie shows her that she's sort of a sad character, without spoon feeding it to us.
Yeah, because she's she doesn't really have friends. She's struggling with money. She
loses out on that. Not internship.
What was that? It was a college.
There's something at the Guggenheim.
Piano.
Yeah. She's struggling with money, which I hated that. I hated that scene for her you know, when she's going, I guess, to pay her rent, and they're like, well, you know, you're past due.
Yeah.
And, you know, and if you moved out, we can literally, you know, rent it out for twice as much.
Right.
But anyway, and I feel like I'm becoming more like you about spoon feeding the audience, and I was like, that's perfect. That's all we
that
needed.
was great. Yeah.
It's all we need to let us know she's struggling, and it's a good setup because she's keeping secrets from her family.
That's right.
You know, which I think is why she also feels so guilty, because she's keeping secrets, and now she has to keep a secret from probably her favorite person.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
because it seems like keeping secrets from her parents are, I mean, that's like a kid thing, you know, regardless of age.
Yeah, well, she doesn't want them to worry.
Yeah.
Right? And I bet you she's also kind of ashamed, right? Maybe a little bit. Or a little embarrassed that she's, you know, not thriving in New York.
Yeah, especially as they said, like, you know, you're 30, like, you should be doing more.
30 is still pretty young. At least to us. You
know. Yeah, you and I are literally about to both be 30.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Which I'm still looking forward to.
It'll be great. It'll be fun.
But yeah, you know, and Billy was she's such a good character, you know, like, I loved watching her progression throughout the movie, you know, of really struggling not only with the secret, but also to find her footing with her own family, you know, because, you know, everyone sees her as Chinese American, even though I guess she was born in China and then they moved to America.
Right.
So yeah, she may have more American ideals, but she still is Chinese.
Right.
But her family sees her as more Chinese American.
Yeah.
Especially her uncle.
Well, they just see her as American. A lot of the time, yeah.
Well, and even her father, he even considers himself American.
Yeah.
And then he corrects himself, like, oh, because I have an American passport.
And they also give her shit about her Mandarin, too.
Yeah.
It sounded pretty good to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny, because, you know, in Shang-Chi, they make that joke where she can't speak it.
Oh.
Which is kind of funny.
That's funny.
I don't know if that was meant to be, like, a callback to this movie.
I doubt it. I bet you it's because, you know, they're doubling down on you've been Americanized. You've been Westernized. Like you're not one of us anymore. Yeah. Like listen to your dialect and your diction. It's terrible, you know?
Yeah. But yeah,
so I do love how we get a sense of where she fits in the family, like you were saying. I like how we're getting a feeling of through dialogue that, you know, which I like because I'm about there where I am not a kid anymore in my family. I'm more of an adult in my family.
Yeah.
Which is weird, right? Especially around the other, like, aunts and uncles and grandparents and things like that. You know, I get a sense that she's being treated a little bit differently this time because it's been so long since she's been in China.
Yeah.
And now she's an adult now. And now, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, and she also, what I think kind of exacerbated it is she just shows up. Right. After they said, like, it's probably best for you not to come.
Right.
And she was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm coming to see my grandmother.
And, of course, her relationship with Nai is amazing.
It's so adorable.
You can tell that Billy's kind of her favorite.
Oh,
you know?
100%. Yeah, 100%. The way she talks with Bill. I mean, granted, of course, it would make sense for the movie to focus more on that relationship than the relationship with Nai and How.
Good luck.
I think that's her cousin's name.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Oh, look.
Anyway, it would make more sense. But yeah, Billy is 100% the favorite.
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's, you know, and I for sure thought, I was like, oh, this is the moment. They're going to tell her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really thought Billy was going to do it when they were at the hospital, you know, when, you know, she's asking the doctor, like, how bad is it really? You can tell me the truth.
Which, by the way, that scene of them sort of panicking and getting lost and trying to find the hospital or where they need to go. They're speaking Mandarin, but there's no subtitles. right? I don't know if you even caught that.
I didn't.
You know, because it's raining and they have their umbrellas and all that stuff. I just like that it sort of like it fuels that sort of chaos and that panic, right? Yeah. And that sense of like urgency that they needed.
We gotta go.
Oh shit, she's where? We gotta. Yeah, this might be. And then it turns out she's fine.
Yeah. It's. But yeah.
I think it might be a decent segue to talk about Nai.
Absolutely. Man, Nai's the best.
Billy's our main character. Nai is my favorite.
Yeah, Nai is the best.
She's so sweet.
She reminds me a lot of I'm trying to remember which movie it was. I want to say that was it. She reminded me, even though she doesn't have a lot of speaking lines, she reminded me a lot of Mama Coco in Coco.
Sure.
Not the grandmother that smashes Miguel's guitar.
No, of course not.
No, but Mama Coco. Even though Mama Coco doesn't speak until the very end of the movie. But, I don't know, but, you know, she definitely, like you said, she's the matriarch, so she runs that family.
She does.
You know, and I think that's a universal language. Whatever Grandma says goes, and you have to listen.
That's right.
And you know, and I love like when she forces Billy to eat. She's like, "No, you have to eat," and Billy's just like, you know, like I don't want to eat because I'm worried about you, but I can't say no.
Yeah, she reminded me a lot of my Nana. Yeah. My Nana's 95. If Nana were a little sharper, didn't have dementia, she would be 100%. If she had her wits.
She had her wits about her.
Yeah, she would be 99 for sure.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was kind of how. Just kind of how my grandmother was before she passed. You know. Yeah, very very much like whatever she said goes.
Yeah.
You know, and
of course, if you're like, it's always, are you hungry? I go, not really. She goes, I'll make you a tortilla. You know, she'll make the tortilla on the stuff.
And I love, and again, of course, the movie would focus on their relationship, but I do love the relationship between Billy and Nai.
It's great.
And I love that she always calls her stupid child.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's just what the subtitles are saying, but I was like, that's a cute pet name for her granddaughter. You know, stupid child. And you can tell that Billy doesn't mind it.
No, because she's not actually calling her stupid, right? No. She's, you're being silly. You're being, you're brushing things off. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. Especially during the Tai Chi.
And she take it seriously. And you could tell too, kind of go talking about Awkwafina again. You can tell Awkwafina is really having fun with the scene. Yeah. Too. But yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it made it hard to watch sometimes. I'm like, they just come on, like she's the sweetest lady. You have to tell her. I know, and I think that's sort of the reason why they don't, right? Yeah. Is that because she is so sweet? Keep her sweet, keep her nice, or keep her Nai. Yeah. Right? Yeah, because it's. Don't be mad at me, but kind of to quote Deadpool. Wow. Cancer is an awful disease. It's a shit show. Yeah. And as Billy's uncle says, they don't want to ruin her good mood. And I think what you said is perfect. They want to keep her they want to keep her Nai. Yeah. And had they told her, her mood probably would have gone down. She probably would have been acting differently, knowing like, oh, I don't have long. Yeah. And that would have changed her, and it would have changed the dichotomy in the family. Yeah. Not the dichotomy. It would change the dynamic of the family. There we go. Once, I was about, I don't know, a little over halfway. And I finally realized, I was like, you know what? I think what they're doing is they are taking the burden of knowing, right? Mm-hmm. They're taking the burden of knowing, which let's imagine it as like 1,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. Instead of making her carry the 1,000 pounds, they're each going to take a little bit, right? Right. They're taking that burden off of her by not telling her. They're holding it on themselves. Right. It's almost like the sacrifice for her being such a great provider and such a great, is to keep her ignorant. Right. And we'll take it. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's kind of what Billy's uncle says, very Western thinking. You think one person's life is their life, or it's theirs to control, or theirs to carry the burden. But, in the East, it's one of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to carry that.
That's right.
The only reason why you want to tell her is because you feel guilty. And, and you could tell that, like, her uncle does care about her, but he's like, you have to stop this. Like,
Yeah.
we've already decided we're not telling her.
Right.
And, like...
Not up for discussion.
Yeah. And, and you can also tell that her dad is also struggling with
because
it as well.
Right, because they've been in America long enough, right, to where now it sounds weird. And where they agree and they go along with it, they are still struggling as well, I think. And that's why she sends them to the spa or whatever, right? Because Aquafina, of course, Billy, she's, really struggling and she's like not sleeping and she's, Yeah. And so is her dad. Her dad's looking terrible and they tell him how bad he looked. Like, go look at your face, man. What's going on?
Yeah, it's all red and puffy.
Yeah. And I love the reveal that they're at the spa because at first I'm like, where are they?
Because it's a good wide shot, but you
fantastic.
don't see them from the waist down.
And they're sort of still trying to figure out what to do and what's the right thing to do, right? And they got sent to the spa. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to talk about now, because much of the movie focuses on not only Billy's struggle, but her relationship with her parents as well. Mm-hmm. It definitely seems like there's some, I don't want to say tension between her parents. It definitely seems like her and her parents, they all love each other. But, like during the whole discussion of, well, are you really Chinese now, or you American? Right. And her mom was saying some, in my opinion, some really kind of shitty stuff about her own daughter, about how like, we didn't expect that from you, or something like that. And like, and it seems like that's another, I don't want to say cultural thing, but because I just recently watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that's how Michelle Yeoh's character is with her daughter. Is very, not aloof, but very hard.
Yeah. She's strict. She's tough.
And I would assume that Billy's mom was the same way, but now Billy's mom is... Now that Billy's an adult, it's almost like, well, I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. I'm going to give it to you straight.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of let us down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I was like, why, like, how badly she's struggling with this, and you're just going to pile on with all this.
Right.
And her dad definitely does seem more of like, well, like when she's, so I watch movies with subtitles anyway, which we've established on the show. Yeah. When they're at the spa together and he's asking her about the fellowship. That's or fellowship. I don't remember. The thing that she got denied of, it said annoyed. It's fine, Dad. Like when she, and you could tell that she is annoyed with him. And I don't know if it's maybe because of how he's handling it that she's annoyed with, or.
I think that, she's got enough going on. I don't need to revisit, right, that I didn't get in, or I didn't get the fellowship or whatever.
And because then he's talking about, like, are you good with money?
Right, yeah,
I'm fine. Well, can you afford that? I'm fine. It's fine. Yeah, and it's just a strange time, because you would think out of all of her family members, her parents would be more sympathetic, or at least trying to help her cope.
Understand.
Yeah. Especially when, and I really love that scene after they have dinner at Nai-Nai's house, and Nai-Nai gets her dad drunk, even though she was just saying, like, you can't let him drink. Yeah. But gets him, like, kind of forces him to drink anyway. And they have that great conversation about, like why do you have a problem with Nai-Nai? And her mom's like, well, I don't have a problem with her. She has a problem with me. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know. It's just so strange.
Yeah.
But again, it's almost like Billy needs a little bit more put on her to see if she can still handle the secret, I guess, maybe.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. I just thought it was strange. I mean, I'm not saying I disliked that in the film, but it was strange that you would think that maybe her parents would be, like trying to help her or.
Yeah, what I like about this movie is it's not shying away, and also not giving you. It's not a tourist guide, right? But it's not shying away from tradition and from culture, right?
Yeah.
So when they go visit Nine Eye's husband's grave,
Yay, I think they called him.
good luck, I don't remember.
I think it was Yay.
Fascinating, the whole thing.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The putting the stuff on the tape. There's a table and chairs there, right, made of stone.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you got to peel the orange or you can't eat it. You got to rip up the flowers so people don't put it on someone else's, right? So people don't steal it. You need to put this down. You need to pour that out before you can put it down. All that stuff. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a lot of, during the, in Hispanic culture of, Dia de los Muertos. I butchered that, I know.
You did.
Day of the Dead. No, when they leave offerings to their family members' graves in the ofrenda.
Yeah, the ofrenda.
That's what it reminded me a lot of, but it's almost like in Chinese culture, there's one extra step, which is making sure that everything is laid out.
Right, and because they're going to use it.
Yeah. The cigarette is the best. When her dad lights it, and Nine Eye's like, no, he doesn't smoke anymore. He's like, Mom, he just told you he stopped smoking. Yeah. He was still smoking, and then Billy's uncle was like, Mom, let the man smoke. He's dead. He's dead. What else is he going to do? Yeah. Just let the man smoke.
Yeah, let him smoke. All right?
Yeah.
I love that she's still... Yeah, you're right. That she's sort of like, I don't care if he's dead. He shouldn't be smoking.
He shouldn't be smoking, yeah.
And of course, the sort of... They're not quite prayers, but...
more like asking for...
Good fortune. Right? Yeah. And the bowing and stuff. I really, really liked that. And I liked the camera doesn't move and it's,
and I like that they're all kind of bowing at their own pace.
Right. They're not doing it in unison. There's some of them aren't going all the way down. Some of them,
Yeah. That was really fascinating because I really love it when a film, can respectfully show another culture's culture.
And don't explain it to me. I'll figure it out later. You know what I mean? I want to know what you guys do. Don't do anything different.
Yeah. Again, not to bring up Coco again.
Jesus.
But that was something I really loved about Coco. Now, granted, it was made for kids, so they had to do a little explaining. But they didn't explain a lot of the Day of the Dead and why it's so important.
No, like if I want to know that bad, I'll look it up later.
Yeah, exactly. And so I really loved that. And they, and also I really love leading up to that scene explaining emotion in Chinese culture, where it's okay to show emotion, but if you don't show enough, they don't think you love your family.
And that's what was so interesting about the wedding, is when her uncle breaks down up there. It's like, oh shit, like it's finally getting to him too.
Yeah, because he's been pretty strong the whole movie up until that point.
That whole sequence is odd.
Yeah, I really love that they. Well, see, and I think that's when it hits her cousin really hard because they get him drunk, playing that drinking game. Yeah, and so he's already smashed, and now it's kind of hitting him.
And they're having fun with Nine Eye, right? And she's so happy, and everyone else is happy, and
even though they served crab, not lobster.
Right.
She booked for lobster.
Yeah. It's another thing I liked about Nine Eye. She goes, what kind of scam is this?
What kind of scam is this? Yeah. I booked for lobster.
Well, she didn't back down. I really like that.
Oh, and I love that the chef was just like, they told me to cook lobster. Or they told me to cook crab.
It's crab, not lobster.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Yeah, and that's when she's like, what kind of scam is this? Yeah. But yeah, it's... And so I really love the explanation of, that in Chinese culture that emotion is very important to show, but...
Well, and not so much culture-wise, but just like, dude, you're going to blow it, Yeah. Like, crying like that in front of everybody during a speech and, dedicating the speech to his mom and all that stuff. Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. And the ending, too, when they say goodbye to Nai Nai, is... It's the first time we've seen her cry, too, which was, And that was probably hard for Billy because she said, she says, "Don't cry." Like it's.
Well, here's what was so interesting about the scene leading up to that is they're still at the wedding, and then the results come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have to hurry and go change it.
Yeah.
Right? Which is so interesting.
Yeah, because it was kind of that old school style, kind of slapstick comedy when Nai tells her sister and Billy, when Billy hears her say like, "Oh no, I sent Mrs. Gao to go get my results," and they both went.
And here's something else that's really interesting is that she doesn't know how to read.
Oh, Mrs. Gao.
Mrs. Gao. That was really interesting to me. Because it's 2013 in the movie, right?
Yeah, because it's not taking place because the movies came out in
19.
So
the movie takes place like 2013 or something like that, and it's like it's modern day. Like you don't know, that's so interesting.
Yeah, see, I didn't know if that was she was telling the truth or if it was sort of like a little like oh, I don't know how to read.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I guess I didn't pick up on that.
But see, I thought the same thing at first. It's like,
that's weird.
She doesn't know how to read. But then when I started thinking about it, because she goes with them to
fix it.
So I was like, I wonder if she was just telling Billy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because see, I believed Billy when Billy was like, I can't read Chinese.
Right. Yeah.
That I believed, but I think Mrs. Gao was more like, oh, I can't read either.
I don't know. I think you can see it either way. I think it's,
It either she's telling the truth or she's telling Billy, like...
I don't know enough about literacy rates in China, but you know what I mean? Maybe it's common for people not to know how.
But yeah, that was pretty wild. That was almost like the movie quickly turned into a suspense, like, oh my God, the guy...
I know. And what's crazy is they go through with it and they change it, right? Yeah. Which I didn't think they were going to do.
Yeah. What I love the guy. He's like, what are benign shadows? And little Nai is like, that everything's fine. That's what it means. And
all right, I'll just put that then. Jesus. Yeah, and then of course they give her the thing and she goes, I told you guys. Like I'm fine.
Yeah. And I just want to say I love that shot.
Yeah, the slow-mo.
Because
them walking, yeah.
It was almost styled as sort of like a triumphant thing. They got away with it. But the look on everyone's face is like, oh,
they got away with it.
We got away with it.
Right.
Like they weren't happy that they got away. Well, or at least Billy wasn't happy that they got away with it. Like, yes, she aided in continuing the lie, but she was like, fuck.
Yeah, she may have even realized that, at that point, that it would be best to keep it from her. Obviously at the very end too, but
yeah,
at that moment when she decides to go and assist with changing it. Yeah.
So Jeremy, you said you wanted to talk about the real Nai.
Yeah.
And how she is still alive.
She is still alive. That's so interesting. So, not how I thought the movie was going to end, of course.
No.
I was going to be like, when's the funeral? Because like
cut to 3 months later.
Yeah,
they're all back in China.
Yeah, because they cut to black, and then we're still in China when we come back, and it's Billy's last day there or whatever, right? She doesn't want to go back, and Nana's giving her the money and in the red envelope, which is Chinese culture. It's good. It's a good fortune. It's also Chinese New Year stuff. That's different though. So we cut to black and I go, here we go. Yeah, this is it. And then when she leaves China to go back to New York, I thought, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's 1 year later, or something, and it never happened. And
they really set that up because, when Billy's doing Tai Chi and doing those breathing exercises, we kind of cut back to China with those. I'm assuming Sparrow's leaving, which is, in other movies, a cue to like, oh, it's happened.
Or something, right?
Yeah.
Which is what the bird was in her apartment, right? It's impending doom, right? I was reading about that.
Oh, okay.
The bird in her apartment and then the bird in the hotel room. It's supposed to signify impending doom or death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think if you knew that going forward, like maybe Chinese audiences,
they'd be like, oh, no.
Oh, shit, Here it comes.
But then maybe maybe the sparrows flying away at the end, signifying that like death is going away.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, because then it cuts to black, and then we get
The
home
little-
video of the real Nine.
Yeah, doing her Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And that it's 6 years and still going. And so today, so again, it was very late. I was very tired, so I turned it off and I went to bed.
Uh-huh.
Today, I was like, I want to know if she found out, right? Because I mean, this is a big
Yeah,
clue.
the movie is critically acclaimed.
Yeah, and it's like a big deal, right?
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
So in the IMDb trivia, which I take as fact,
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
yeah, says that no, she still doesn't know. They still keep it from her. It's obvious because that would defeat the whole purpose, right?
Yeah.
Is to let's tell her now.
Like, oh, it's been 6 years. The movie's out. Like, time to tell her.
Might as well.
Yeah.
No, it would defeat the whole purpose. So they just lied to her about the plot of the movie. They didn't have her watch any trailers or anything like that. They, if they were to go with her during a press something, they just don't ask her questions, or she doesn't speak English anyway. So,
But I would assume then that.
which is fascinating that she still doesn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, which is crazy because, if she has seen the movie.
And I don't think she has.
And see, that may be it, too. That may be how they're keeping it from her, too.
Yeah, they just don't show her the movie. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's part of it. I didn't think that needed to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't show her the movie, which is 80% in the language she
I
speaks.
was going to say, because she
no,
probably
she's-
deduce, like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, this is about me. Yeah.
Lulu!
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but again, I wasn't expecting the, 6 years since her diagnosis, she's still with us. And I was
Yeah.
like, she is? I was so happy.
Yeah,
but
when it cut to that, when it cut to the home video, I was like, all right, here it is.
Yeah, here it is.
Here it is. They're going to tell us that she passed away. And then I was like, oh, she's still alive.
well, that's interesting. And then, then it was like, and she still doesn't know.
And which is interesting because in and of itself, because, as many people have, seen, medical documentaries, medical shows, stage 4 is pretty, that's a done deal. Yeah, there's.
The only thing I read was terminal cancer. I didn't read the stages or whatever.
Well,
Or if
they-
that was
they-
even,
they
said
said
stage
stage
4?
4.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
They
I guess.
tell her. They tell Billy. That's how they tell Billy.
Oh, okay, that was
she has
stage 4
stage
cancer.
4 lung cancer.
It was in English. I didn't have the subtitles.
Oh, that's right.
I couldn't hear him say
Oh,
that.
Yeah. So stage 4. Yeah. So when you hear that, you're like, oh well,
Oh, it's done.
it's done. And you're like, yeah, you can treat it, but it's not going away.
Right, and
So it is fascinating that it's 6 years later and she's still alive.
let me ask you this: did you
Yes.
know going into this that Ikiru and the farewell had something to do with cancer?
Oh, absolutely not. I just knew that.
And cultural differences by them not telling him he has cancer and then them not telling her she has. I mean, that's so interesting that we've done 2 of these now.
Yeah. I was thinking about that after I finished the movie. I was like, oh shit! Like we've done 2 movies about terminal cancer.
Yeah, in Asia.
One Japanese film, one Chinese American film, where someone doesn't know.
Yeah.
And it's, but the difference with Ikuduru was he
found out.
He found it.
Right, he found out.
He kind of knew, like, oh, I'm not gonna make
And
it.
of course, we in the audience know in
Yeah.
that one as well because the narration. It would have been interesting to. I mean, we're back on Aikido. It's not my intention, but
Well, that's fine.
it would have been interesting to keep that open ended. But
Yeah, but no, yeah. I just knew that her grandmother was dying and that they weren't going to tell her. That's all I knew. And then
well,
so-
and at first I was telling people that because people would ask, what are you doing next time?
Mm-hmm.
And then right before I started the movie, I go, did I get that backwards? Is she the one who's not telling them? Because how the fuck would she not know, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when that scene where the sister goes and gets the info. I go, oh,
like, oh no, you're fine. You're in great health.
thank God. I was like, I didn't want to be wrong about that. Telling all these people that
telling everyone, like, hey,
Yeah.
like,
Here's
the
what the movie's
grandmother
about.
doesn't know that she's dying, but she's not telling anyone she's dying.
somehow shit like that bothers me because I'm like, I imagine that they'll go look it up
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
just
anyway.
tell them. Yeah. I usually just tell people, like, if I don't give them a synopsis, I'm like, oh, we're doing The Farewell. It's got Aquafina in it. There we go.
Got it.
Um,
Also, A24's first PG movie.
oh, that's right. I never checked to see, like, really? It's only PG?
Yep.
Well, yeah, because there's no cursing in it.
No.
Yeah, there's drinking and smoking, but there's no sex.
Yeah, but it's China. People smoke in China. They
Yeah.
still do that. You know?
There's no sex, no nudity.
Yeah, it's
I
PG.
never figured that
After
out.
Yang, I think, is their second one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which I just got.
So did I.
Yeah.
And I started watching After Yang. Sorry, guys, sidebar. I started watching it, and then I was drinking, and so then I got sleepy, and then I stopped watching it. So I'm going to have to start over.
I'll probably watch it. Maybe on a day that.
Because your boy was tipsy when I turn it
I'll
on.
probably watch After Yang when Ashley's not here because I know she wouldn't be interested in it.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Because it's
Probably
a
not.
sci-fi
Slow, too.
drama.
Yeah.
But, well, Jeremy, are you ready to wrap up?
I am. Yes. Loved it. Thought it was wonderful. Simplistic in plot, but rich with everything else. It has so much heart, and it's great. A great family dramedy.
Yeah, it really is. And I was really, like I said, I was really wanting to watch this with Ashley because I knew she would like it, and yeah, she was like, I just don't feel like watching a movie today.
Yeah.
So maybe later on.
Never understood that, but
Well, like I said, I was also watching it at 10 a.m. and we'd both woken up.
Oh.
And so she was like, I don't feel like watching a movie right now.
yeah.
And I only had to do it because I had to do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I had to do it.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Love it. Definitely glad I own it.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't the Canadian version
Oh, yeah.
because I wasn't paying attention on Amazon. But yeah. I think one of the most heartfelt ones I've picked this season.
I think so. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So Jeremy, since we're not doing an episode next week, what
Yeah.
are we going to be talking about when I get back from seeing Harry Styles?
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm only slightly nervous.
Well, I understand, but you may not have to be that nervous. I'm gonna save that one. No, we just did. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next week we are going to be discussing Robert Breeson's Pickpocket. Or next time.
Ooh.
No, sorry, Pickpocket.
Oh, I've been itching to watch that.
Yeah.
Because it's the only, well, besides Chasing Amy, it's the only Criterion I have on DVD.
DVD.
Even though they make it on Blu-ray.
They
but
do. I have mine on Blu-ray.
It was out of stock on Amazon, so I could only get it on DVD.
Do you think if you had waited because we didn't watch it right away that you
I probably
would
should have
had time?
waited,
Yeah.
but I was so in a
I know.
rush to get all the ones on your list that have a Criterion release to get it on Criterion, and I always forget I have it. Like I always forget I have it. Like when I check the Criterion website and check my letterbox list with all my Criterion movies on it, I'm like, these numbers don't add up. Oh, it's fucking Pickpocket.
God damn.
Because if it was on Blu-ray, it would be up here.
Right, of course.
So
Yeah, mine are also separated, like The Offspring says. And my DVDs, I have quite a few that are DVD because they're DVD only. Right?
Yeah.
They're,
What can I say? Speaking of Criterion, sorry, hang on, everyone. I added a bunch of new movies to my wish list, and one of them is the Beastie Boys anthology.
Oh, yeah.
Which is only on DVD.
Yeah.
Which I almost didn't do it, but I was like, no, fuck it. It's the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, it's Beastie Boys.
Like, why not?
You know?
And it's on Criterion.
Some of my favorite Criterions I own are on DVD, like Clean Shaven. You know what I mean? Like, that one's tremendous. If you haven't seen Clean Shaven, go check that out.
Yeah, but the problem with me is
You're a purist.
I'm a purist, and DVD is now a dead format. So
It's actually still the most popular.
I know, which is fucking wild. But it's all about Blu-ray 4K now.
Yeah,
and now that Criterion's in the 4K game, like, well, shit.
Oh, I know it, man.
But I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I've been really itching to watch that movie because again, I forget I have it.
So, yeah.
All right, well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed the farewell, and we will see you next time for Pickpocket.